Welcome in, everyone, to the WyoSports video blog for this week as we preview the University of Wyoming's football game against New Mexico. Robert, our last football video blog of the year. The Cowboys playing their last football game of the season, 4-7 going into New Mexico. Boy, this has just been a tough year for the Cowboys, injury-wise, win-loss-wise. I guess just your thoughts about them going down playing one more game this weekend.
Well, it is. It's the last game, and there's not a lot to play for as far as bowls and all that. But it's another chance to play football. And for 24 seniors, it's their last chance to play college football. And for many of them, it'll be their last chance to put the pads on. So, and as Craig Bull mentioned earlier in the week, it's another opportunity to improve and get better. So, is that, in the grand scheme of things, is that real motivational? I don't know, but it's still an opportunity to play football. And you'd much rather end the season on a win than you would have lost. So, take that for what it's worth, but I think that's what the Cowboys are kind of looking at this week.
Also, I would imagine they want to try to, I don't know if redeem is the right word, but kind of get that taste out of their mouths of last week. Because last week certainly felt like it was maybe, and I hate to use this word, but the worst game they played all year. It just everything kind of snowballed on them in that game.
Yeah, and even Craig Bull mentioned after the game that he thought that the program, and the development of it kind of took a little bit of a step back with the way that game went, and didn't say the guys quit, but just the way, things snowballed, as you said, and just, even in games where they were out of it late, they kept fighting, and it just didn't seem like there was that last week. So absolutely, not just from last week, but even 2 weeks ago against Utah State to get that bad taste out of their mouths. So I would think that would be quite a bit of a motivational play for them.
Well, obviously the biggest question mark, who played quarterback this weekend for the Cowboys? We know that Colby Kierkegaard got hurt against Boise State. Early in the week it was day-to-day about him, which is surprised me the way that injury looked. But just kind of give me your thoughts about what you've heard this week. What are your thinkings about the quarterback situation?
I wouldn't be surprised if Colby made the trip and maybe gave it a shot or just see how it goes. They still got some time before the game. But even if Colby Kierkegaard can play, I don't know if their Wyoming will be limited, but look, he's not the most mobile quarterback, or that's not what they ask him to do.
Right.
But he's going to even be probably more mobile or immobile back there. So what does that do game plan wise? And if Colby can't go, then you got Tom Thornton and maybe even Sam Stratton, two guys that haven't seen a lot of playing time, not a lot of reps in practice, but they're also a little bit more athletic. So it'll be interesting. I think Colby is one of the toughest kids I've been around in this program in a long time, and I think he's going to do everything he can to get ready. And again, I think he'll make the trip and maybe give it a shot. But I think Wyoming's going to have to be very diligent with its game plans and maybe have a plan A, plan B. Maybe there might even need to be a plan C or D in this one. But I do look, we've said all season long this team wants to be a run-first physical football team, and I think that just comes to the forefront even more this week. New Mexico hasn't been able to really stop the run or the pass, but if they can run the ball consistently, whoever, even if it's Colby Kierkegaard, don't make him do a lot of things to put that ankle at risk. So that run game is going to be huge for Wyoming. And
I know a lot of people all throughout the year have kind of said, what about Tom Thornton? Let's kind of see him play. I don't think last week was any indication, because that was a throw to the wolves type game when you're coming in the second half. But if they do give him some series, if they scheme some things for him, it's kind of nice to see kind of what he can do for maybe a quarter or something like that.
I think I'd like to see, and I'm sure a lot of people would too, when I asked Brent Vegan about that this week, if this was somewhat of a first dress rehearsal, so to speak, of what maybe could happen next season, or for Tom Thornton next season, he said, it's an opportunity. This isn't, Tom Thornton's job to lose next season based on what he does in this game on Saturday. So it's an opportunity for Tom Thornton to do that. So I'd be curious to see what he can do. Personally, I think Tom's handled this well. He handled even after the game well. I know he'll prepare himself well. I wouldn't mind seeing him play, but I'd like to see Colby Kierkegaard go on a better note. I don't want to see his last game at Wyoming. Not only was a loss, but the way he went down and got injured. I'd like to see a better finish for him. But we see Tom Thornton or even a little bit of Sam Stratton. That could be fun too. And I think Wyoming can do some things with their athleticism that can make them effective.
As we flip it to the defensive side now, obviously you're facing an option team. Wyoming early in the year played pretty well against Air Force, an option team. Obviously they're shorthanded more than they were in that game. What are your thoughts about this option? Not really a true option team. I mean, they do a lot of stuff kind of in the gun situation with that, but they'll still run a lot of options. New Mexico will.
And you're right, Wyoming did a pretty good job against Air Force back on September 6th, but unfortunately 5 of those starters that were part of that aren't there. So it still goes back to a lot of the basics of assignment sound. I know we hear that a lot of option teams, and that's going to have to be hammered home, and getting off blocks and getting off cuts and stuff like that. And you just hope that these guys on defense have enough to do that. I think if Wyoming can play well up front and maybe disrupt some of that early, I think that'll be a big key. I would certainly like to have guys like Mark Mazzocchi or Darren White, Jesse Sampson, and the like, Sonny Pulatasi in there to be able to do that, but they don't. So, be assignment sound, know your assignments, and do your jobs. Don't do the job of 2 or 3 guys. Do your job and see what happens. But New Mexico's going to move the ball, and they're going to probably score some points. It's just a matter of getting stops when you can and see what happens with this guys.
Well, final game for both teams. Neither team is going anywhere after this game. So it's a lot of just playing for pride. What do you think happens on Saturday in New Mexico?
I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game because I think both defenses are struggling right now for numerous reasons. I like the Cowboys' chances, but look, New Mexico hasn't won a home game all year. I think it's their time. I do think Wyoming can win this game, and it wouldn't surprise me, but senior day, I do think New Mexico's going to find a way. I think it's going to be somewhere around 34-24 New Mexico.
Okay.
Saturday.
I'm going with the Cowboys. I just think that something's going to come up, something's going to swell up in their pride. Don't want to go out like you did last week. I'm saying 24-19 Cowboys. Kind of a weird finished game. So,
all right. Well, again, I hope I'm wrong, and I have been numerous times this season. Well, that'll do it for this season's edition of the WyoSports video football blog. We'll do more basketball as the season progresses, but for more University of Wyoming sports, please see the Wyoming Tribune Eagle and Laramie Boomerang and WyoSports.net. For Scott and Nick Siemens, our production assistant this season, who's done a great job. We appreciate it. So enjoy the games this weekend. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you soon.